And when you're ready, Anika. Oh, you're on mute.
Hi, everyone. I'm handing over to Josh to bring us in.
Thank you, Anika. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our February session. As you know, I'm Josh. I'm going to be leading us through these introductions today, and um, just want to say that we're so excited for this session in particular. And we know it's been a month of different things, but we're just always happy to come into this session in the space of just affirmation and welcome. And as you can see on the screen, the staff, just a reminder, we have Anika Tanay, our Director of Grants, Awards, and Programs, myself, Manager, Grants, Awards, and Programs, and Marcelina Ramirez, Grants, Awards, and Programs Coordinator. And we also have our NAFF coaches, our ever amazing, ever helpful NAFF coaches. We have Amir Jackson, CJ Achoko, Mariana Moscoso, Shannon Stokes, and Trey Carlisle. Whoop, whoop. Great group of folks. So as we go through our shared agreements and do norms and session flow, please drop a word or a phrase in the chat that describes just how you're arriving today. And it can be physically, mentally, emotionally, however you want to just translate that question yourself. Since today's session is about narrative power and belonging, that starts with presence, and just this prompt is just to get us in that mindset. So yeah, how are you arriving today? I see recovering, see cold, grateful. See grounded, eager. I'm liking these words. Trained, stressed, a range of emotions, relaxed. I can share mine too. I'm arriving physically sore. I've had a strong workout this weekend, and then I'm on a league, a recreational kickball league. So I was running a lot this weekend. And then I volunteered at the Black Joy Parade in Oakland, California. And I put in about 17,000 steps just walking around the streets of Oakland. So physically sore, but mentally very fulfilled. Fed and happy transition. I love that. Well, still, please continue to populate the chat. We're going to read on and read these shared agreements, go through our Zoom norms, our regular stuff, and we'll keep going. So here's our shared commitments. We value humility, learning from our mistakes, and asking questions to gain deeper understanding. We feel empowered to hold one another accountable, establish boundaries, and ask each other for help. We lean into discomfort by facing challenges and conflict with openness and grace. We stay present by listening actively, being mindful of body language, and participating to the fullest of our ability. We share from our own experiences and grow as a team through the inclusion of every individual voice. And we prioritize accessibility and are mindful of our language in ensuring belonging for all. And Lena, I know you're doing Zoom DJ, so if you want, you can read. Oh, you're good? Okay. Hand it over to Lena.
For our Zoom norms today, just a reminder to please keep your microphone muted when not speaking in the far left corner. Please rename yourself to your first and last name and your state/jurisdiction acronym. For example, you'll see my name up here, Marcelina Ramirez, Colorado. That also helps me take attendance for later. To ask questions or make comments, please use the raise hand function and/or write your question in the chat at any time. Click on reactions in the middle of your screen and choose raise hand, or click on chat in the middle of your screen to write your questions or comments. Live transcripts or closed captions are turned on. You can view or hide them, change the size, as well as other functions by using the up arrow on live transcript, which is either in the middle of your screen or behind the more button with the 3 dots on the right side of your screen. And if you have any other accessibility needs that may come up during the rest of the session, please just go ahead and DM me directly, and I'll be sure to help you as best I can. All right, back to you, team.
Thank you, Lena. So here's our session outline for today. We've done our welcome, our agreements, and our norms. Then we'll get into our grounding and introduce, or we did our grounding. We'll introduce our guest speaker, Miss Margie Reese, the Margie Reese. And then we'll have our civic imagination labs, talk about narrative refinement. We'll be in our pods. We'll have a break somewhere in there that the coaches will coordinate. And then we're going to do our cross-regional engagement. And then from there, we'll have our reflections and next steps and closing. So, and now I'll turn it over to Anika to introduce Ms. Margie.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Great to be together. Before we begin and hand over to Miss Margie, just want to kind of set a frame for today. You all got a sneak peek, I think on Friday, from Josh that this will be a bit more of an interactive session with our guest speaker. And so there's going to be some writing and so on that takes place. I'm not going to steal Miss Margie's thunder and say too much about what is expected there, but it's an opportunity to reflect and share and kind of think about narrative power and bring that to your pen or to your fingertips as you type. But whatever form that looks like for you, participating in the chat, raising your hand, all of the things that we do, all of it counts and all of it will shape what we talk about today. And again, our topic is exploring narrative power and belonging. Um, those sound like really cool words, and I hope that they feel less buzzy by the time we're done today, and they feel really grounded and practical and relatable for you, your life, your leadership, your project. Um, um, and that they're rooted in trust and in the work that you take really seriously in the world, as all of you do. So we want to talk about how stories open doors for us, how they signal who belongs and who's left out, how they influence the futures that we're trying to shape. And we could not think of anyone other than Miss Margie Reese to bring her experience to bear and helping people recognize the stories that they already hold and understand how those stories can either expand belonging or unintentionally limit it. And then, as you've seen in the session outline, afterwards, the coaches are going to help you process all of that in light of your personal action projects, how you're inviting others into the conversation. And how all of this sort of arc of this conversation comes together. As always, I want to invite you to stay curious, pay attention to what resonates and with you and what stretches you. When it feels right, of course, to add your voice, not just because that's what we're here for, but because your perspective matters and it may be exactly what someone else needs to be able to reflect in their work more clearly. It's impossible to say all of the wonderful things that Miss Margie is and does, but she certainly is an elder, very respected in the field, has for many, many years been a trusted faculty member of the First Emerging Leaders of Color Fellowship program with Creative West, then West Staff, and then our National Leaders of Color Fellowship program, and is clearly instrumental in how we shaped this National Arts Futures Fellowship program. And so we are grateful that she is able to spend time with us. So over to you, Miss Margie.
Thank you, Anika. Thank you, Creative West team. These little things keep popping up on my screen. I'm easily distracted, but I'm actually honored to be with you guys today because I've been saying to this team and others for a couple of years, it's time to put us old heads to the side and let these now younger minds, coaches and leaders take this thing forward, and I'm very proud to see how it has and continues to evolve. So I'm going to get right straight to it because I know your time is precious. And when I was thinking about the topic that I'm have been asked to talk to you about belonging, I want to start there. And I want to start there by saying, at the end of this conversation, if I forget to say this to you, I want to say you are here, you're in your current roles, and you can imagine yourself in your future roles because you're supposed to be there. There's nothing accidental about your path, it's predetermined. Your only job is to stay the course, stay steady, stay prepared. When you start to second guess yourself, do I know enough? Am I the right spokesperson? Do I have the right pedigree? All those things. I want you to call me so I can straighten you out and remind you that you're good enough. You're where you're supposed to be. When I hear you talk about I'm stressed out, call me. I'll talk you out of that. There's no such thing as being too stressed out in this work. You take it day by day. It's a long, long haul. I'm 75 years old. Does that look good? And I'm still in the game because I need to be in the game, and I get repositioned every so often just to stay here so you can see what longevity looks like. It's not, this is not a burden. If you choose to do this work, you should not ever feel burdened. So I want to tell you three stories. First, I want to tell you my origin story. I remember, this is where I'm just coming out of a conversation with historians and archivists, you guys, and I just learned from them that our cultural memory is the thing that we all have been saying to each other here for the last several days. It's our cultural memory that fuels us. So I want to tell you this first story that I am calling my origin story. So when I hear people say, I want to do what you do, how did you get this job? How'd you end up in this career? Well, here's the thing. When I was about 8 years old, it was determined for me that I would be doing this work about access, about inclusion. I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I was always a little bit chubbier than my friends because my grandmother fed us well. But I wanted to go to see what this nutcracker story was that I would see at Thanksgiving every year. They had the ads on our black and white TV at my aunt's house, and they would say, "Bring your children to audition for the Nutcracker." The music was fascinating to me. I'd see the little white girls dancing around in their tutus, and I thought, I can do that, and I want to do that. So for 2 or 3 years, I implored, begged, and talked to my mother and my aunts, who were all educators, about taking me downtown to the Baton Rouge Little Theater so I could do what those girls were doing. And they were as open-minded as they were, and as much as they offered us access to lots of different experiences, they would never take me there, nor would they even talk to me about why they were not taking me there. And I knew I didn't know anything about being a ballerina, but it just looks like it was graceful and beautiful, and I wanted to do that. And you guys, it wasn't until years later, like 10, that I realized why they couldn't take me there. But between the 8 and the 18-year-old gap, I became upset, a little angry, and I couldn't understand until I was beginning to apply for college. And it was 1967-ish. And there was this thing about integration and affirmative action. I accepted a scholarship. I'm in Louisiana. I accepted a scholarship to go to Washington State University because I was still interested in theater and had, my life had been weaving in and out of theater in high school. And it wasn't until I got there in conversations about what Jim Crow was. I'm living in it now, but I didn't know. I grew up near Southern University and Louisiana State University, so access, I thought, was available to anybody. And I figured out and later talked to my family members that they couldn't take me because I didn't belong there. I was a little Black girl, and we weren't allowed to participate in programs with the little white children. Let me just be real with y'all here, and I'll clean this up later. But that was the thing that began my journey and my commitment to dedicate my life and my life's work to making sure that any little girl or boy, any person, any human being that felt like they were curious about something, wanted to try something, that they would have access to that experience. I started thinking about these questions. Who made the rule that I couldn't go? Who decided that I was not allowed? Who created that barrier that wouldn't allow me to feel like I could belong? And perhaps had I had the chance, you guys, to go do that, I would have gotten over it. I probably would have lasted one season and been done with it. But because somebody had decided for me, and even today, we know that people are deciding for us what we can and can't do. And I needed to be in that seat. I needed to be in that position. So I've called myself a policy wonk. I've called myself a champion for access, all those things. But that's my origins. That's what seeded and still drives me today. The language is different, isn't it? Different words are being used now, but inclusion and belonging mean two different things. So I get on the plane. This is not the end of that story. I go to Washington State University. I'm included. I'm accepted into going to college there, in theater, mind you. And I am included in the class, the freshman class. Now, listen to this. I get to campus. My parents don't come with me because they can't afford to. They put me on the plane. I get to Seattle and I get driven to Pullman. I get to my dorm. Follow me, y'all. My roommate hasn't arrived yet. So the dorm person says, you choose your bed, make up your bed, unpack your closet. My roommate and her mother arrive, knocks on the door. I open the door, and the mother says, oh no, is this your room? My daughter can't stay here. I've been welcomed, I've been accepted, but I'm not included. I'm still being told that I don't belong there. And I thought to myself, I could stand here and cry. That's why your faculty members will tell you all the time. I said, I don't do crying. I could stand there and cry. I could be sad. My family was thousands of miles away. I'm here to get an education. Nobody is going to make me give up that opportunity. So those two nuggets, I'm 18, have framed and shaped who I decided I want to be and the kind of person I want to be. You don't have to ask permission to belong. You create that environment for yourself. You establish what your priorities are. Why am I here? What's my end game? What's my goal? What is it that I need to contribute and therefore learn so that I can do that? I sometimes talk about visible invisibility. You don't always have to rattle the cage to get attention because you want to be included. I want you to think with me about what it's like when you decide, what is that environment that I'm going to create so that I can find a space for myself to learn, to advocate, to advance. In this case, I've served on more all-white everythings, boards, committees, commissions, etc. Not because I wanted to be to represent, because I wanted to know what the conversation was about. You want me to be on this board? Okay, cool. I get to listen in, I get to participate, I get to be a rule changer, a real influencer. Yes, taking a picture and putting it up on Instagram and getting 10,000 followers. The only followers I'm interested in right now are you guys. I want you to decide that you create the situation that makes your life's work come to reality, or at least establishes what it's going to be for you. That's my first story. That is my origin story. That's the Miss Margie that I have grown to become. I don't need to be loved by everybody. I like being liked, but I really need to understand what's happening in the room. And the only way for me to know that is to take myself, my 8-year-old self, and my 18-year-old self into the room with me. I need to take all of the lineage of power that comes in the room with me. And so here's what I'm taking. I'm taking Margie, the daughter of Margaret. Margaret, the daughter of Ada. Ada, the daughter of Adele. Adele, the daughter of Cindy. Cindy, a child of the plantation. Think about the generations of strength that comes with you. When I walk into any room, that's who's coming with me. They've taught me to be kind, but cautious. They've taught me to be strong and determined. They've taught me to be proud of myself and my ethnicity, my race, my culture, my size, all of those things to take with you as you go into the situation of trying to decide whether or not you belong. And let me tell you something. There have been a couple of places where I've decided that I don't belong. And I've taken myself out of those situations. If it's damaging to me, if it's the opposite of what I believe to be true and honest, I can sit through a 2 or 3 hour meeting and show absolutely no emotion. This is the last thing I'll say about my origin story. Don't tell everybody everything. Don't express every feeling that you're having. I don't think you need to suppress it. But my great grandmother said, nobody knows your business unless you tell them. And white people, maybe I'm not supposed to use this language, but again, y'all can clean it up later. They use what you say about yourself against you. So just shut the hell up. Listen, understand what's going on, the dynamics in the room. If you're having a great day, that's your business. If you're having a bad day, that's your business too. You ever been on one of those Zoom calls where you really just didn't want to be there, but you have your camera on and you're slouching around? All those things are giving people a little bit of power over you. So sit up, stand up, take your culture, the richness of your culture with you, and always reflect every so often on your origin story. The little girl, the little boy, the adult that made you feel warm and welcome. And how do you share that with yourself again? That feeling of comfort. That's belonging. So I'm going to stop and ask for a couple of thoughts or reflections about what I'm saying to you. I don't have a whole lot of time to do that, but I do want to hear from you because this isn't a lecture. If I wanted to lecture, I would have written you a paper and emailed it to you. So let me hear what you're thinking.
We got 15 minutes for this talking portion, Miss Margie, before we switch to the writing prompt.
Okay, y'all. I got 2 more stories to tell, so talk fast.
Oh, I'll just say that thank you for the reminder to bring those 8-year-old selves to the table. I think that's pretty powerful for me to think about that, and I can immediately think of like lots of stories that have really shaped and informed who I am, and things that'll probably carry with me into my personal action project. So thank you.
Good, good. I hope you will. One more thought, somebody, quickly.
I just wanted to ask the church to say amen after that sermon you just gave, Marcia. Absolutely wonderful.
All right, thank you. Let the church say amen. And I want to talk to you now about my trust story. How we not only build trust within the environments, but how we trust ourselves. How do we know that we're in the right place, doing the right thing, and being true to ourselves? This is my trust story for you. Years pass. I'm running the Dallas, Texas Office of Arts and Culture. And it is a moment in time where the city's Latino population has become strong enough to say, we want our own cultural center. The city commissions a study. We work with the community. I have a very wonderful, strong staff around me, but we're all government workers. Remember, I need to be on the inside of who's making the decisions. The budget for the building the cultural center or any cultural facility in Dallas requires that the public, the community would raise 20% of the funding to build a new cultural facility, and the city then would contribute 80%. The community is not well healed enough yet in its own confidence to raise the 20% match, and they got to get to that point before the city will buy property to build a facility. I'm running around. I got two, young kids. I'm running around doing my job, inspiring people as I try to do. I'm encouraging my staff to make sure we cover every aspect of the very broad and diverse community that we then were calling the Hispanic community. And I get a call from a local donor, a very important foundation in Dallas. And he says to me, I got a piece of property, Margie. I want to show it to you. We see the property. He says, do you want it for the Latino Cultural Center? I say, yes. I take this opportunity back to City Hall. And my assistant city manager, who was a big, wonderful, brilliant management woman, but she was not as broad, open-minded about representation as she has later become. I tell her this story. And she says these words to me, who are you to get involved with the Hispanic community? Those people don't need you. You are not a part of their community or their culture. Who are you to decide that you will accept something like this on behalf of the community? I knew that my community trusted me. I knew the cultural community, from the opera to the smallest guitar teacher in a cultural center, trusted me. But my superiors did not trust themselves and allow themselves to trust me. This was a moment I had to make a decision. I had to decide, do I trust myself or do I put my confidence in this woman who has a very narrow view of trust? I thought, the hell with it. I would be a spokesperson for anybody in the community because my job was not to serve anybody. My job was to serve everybody and to be the spokesperson for cultural traditions across the city. I went to the community, shared these opportunities, and they said, of course, yes, this is a life-saving moment for us. It allows us to move on. That's part A, you guys, of the trust story. Let me tell you part B now. We get past that. I ignore her. She writes me up. I get memos. We were writing hard memos then. Puts it in my file that I was disobedient. I don't know what the words were. And so now we move fast. Several months later, it's time to choose the architect for this project that I've now found the location for. Do I trust myself to go through that process with the city public works department? But okay, yeah, let's see what the process is. Those guys had decided who was going to get this contract before we even had a public conversation about it. And it was the same architectural teams that built all the city libraries, the city fire stations, and that's why all the city's buildings look the same. I thought, we're only going to do this one time. I do my homework and research. I talk to community leadership, and they want the late Mexican architect, Ricardo Legoretta. I take this back to the Public Works Department, and they say, oh, no, he has to go through the process. I said, well, send in the RFP. Well, they didn't, but they said they had. I decided, y'all, I trusted myself to go to Mexico City. I met with the architect and his team, explained the importance of this, He said, I don't want to work in Texas. They're racist people. Well, they were, and they still have some remnants of that today. But he agreed to respond to the RFP. They won it. And what you see there now in Dallas is a fabulous, beautiful cultural center with the purple tower and the orange angles and all the murals inside, etc. Got 10 minutes. But the end of this story is I had to trust myself to know and understand the rules of the game, to be authentic and ask the community, where do we go from here? Is this the right direction? And I took that charge forward. And I don't want this conversation to sound like a my and I, but I'm telling you these stories because they're so personal to me. I don't tell them all the time, and that's why I haven't written the book. The book. But until you get to a place where you have confidence in yourself, that you can stand on a message that you've done your homework on, you believe in, and you can defend. Did I belong in that kind of a system where the rules of the game kept changing to favor those people that didn't look like me, or to favor one community? My answer is absolutely. I belonged there. I told you at the beginning, you are where you're supposed to be. And I believed that my track record, my tenure, my understanding of policy and language and the rules of the game said, you must do your job. If you accept an assignment, you must follow through on it. The sense about weakness and being overwhelmed and the stress, you got to leave that at home. I'm giving you guys the clean version of Margie, because I would have said you got to leave that shit at home, but I'm not. I promised myself I wouldn't do that today. You gotta leave all that anxiety stuff at home, because that's a weak point for you. When you start doubting yourself that, am I the right person? Quit your job. Don't stay there. Don't perpetrate. Don't pretend that you're in the right place. If you've got the strength, the stamina, followed by the knowledge, the system, and the confidence in yourself and the community that you service, you're doing what you're supposed to do. And yes, you belong. 2 minutes worth of reflection on that, then I'm going to tell you my last story. And then you got something to do. Anybody?
Hi. I I'm just some key points. I love that don't ask for permission. A lot of times we forget that. Especially when you are surrounded by people that are in charge. I also like what you stated, trust myself, understanding the rules in the game, and that way you can be able to trust yourself. If you know the rules, then I'm just not gonna say break them, but if you know the rules, then you're able to walk in with your own, I'm gonna say, walk in with your own trusting yourself, walking into the doors that you usually maybe sometimes is intimidated by. Sorry.
I
Try to get my thoughts together.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
One more thought, reflection? Five, four, three, two, one. Last story about belonging. This is a story about in giving yourself permission, but understanding that leadership is an applied science. It's not something you inherit in your job description. It is something that perhaps you evolve into, but you must give yourself permission to respond to the leadership roles that you've been given. Shirking back, pretending that I don't know enough and I'm not ready, not saying, speaking up, etc. You build your leadership portfolio by doing it, by failing, by succeeding, by keeping track of how you're doing in the work. Sometimes you're not as successful as you would choose to be. What do you learn from that? What do you take away from that? That should give you stamina. You need to be in in the ready, we talk about being ready, the bench strength. When we left this work that you guys are involved with now, I knew that with the current staff at West Staff, I had built bench strength. I don't need to stay too long. I need to sometimes move away, but when I move away, I need to be taking with me the portfolio, the leadership portfolio that has allowed me to stand and share and sometimes be adamant about direction or decision making, etc. You don't become a leader by waiting for someone to say you now belong into the leadership core and you can now take on a role or much more important role. You get the guts every single day to take one step at a time. The field of arts management is a game. It's a game of strategy. It's a game of new rules every single day, as we've seen over the last 2 to 3 years. Learn the rules of the game, as the spokesperson was just saying, not so you can break them, but so that you can make new rules along the way. Sometimes rules are just obsolete. Sometimes they're in place so you can follow them, but be alert, be responsive. And so I want to talk 2 more minutes. I don't know how much more time Marceline has given me, but here's some of the recurring language that I hope I want to leave behind from you over my 3 narrative stories. I know now that memory is infrastructure. For me to keep moving, as I said before, I'm taking the strong women with me. I'm taking the knowledge that I've gained along the way, and I'm remembering how I felt, the decisions I made. That builds the infrastructure for you as leaders. It's not in a book only. You do learn some practical skills, but memory is the infrastructure for your leadership path. Institutional myth building does exist. Accept that. Understand that is a gatekeeping strategy to build the myths about what you're capable of, what you can and can't do, that you have to have this sequence of jobs before you can take on a larger role in your organization or in your community or wherever. But this idea of waiting to throw your hat in the ring, even for this experience that you're having now, some of that reticence is based on myth that we've come to accept as truth. Understand that there is such a thing as emotional intelligence, and we fall prey to our emotions without analysis, without understanding. Why am I feeling sad and what do I do with that emotion? Why am I feeling prepared? How did I get here? So I want you to make sure that this kind of vocabulary is in your brain. There's a bunch of stuff on TikTok or something that is now trying to sell you a program to use leadership language. Honey, you were born with leadership language. And leadership language is a clear yes or it's a clear no. It's not, let me think about it. I'm not sure if I can. I don't know if I should try it. It's a yes or no. And then follow the stepping stones to get there. You were born with that language. The first time your mother said no to you, you clearly understood what she meant. And these sort of practices that you get from home, they're just as valid when you get out into the workforce. Think about where you are, observe. So my last 3 things, I think. Read the room, understand who's in the room with you, do your homework so you know where you are. Observe. Create your own narrative about, I trust myself. I know who I am. I know who comes in the room with me. Take that ethos with you. And then finally, use your own innate cultural power as your tool for intervention. Your own cultural identity. It's valuable. Take that with you. That's your intervention strategy to change something. So now I'm trying to keep myself on track because I need you to, if you don't have pencil and paper, I should have said that first. You got your laptops with you, you have your cell phones with you. You've heard me talking a lot. I want you to stop right now. Don't delay this. Don't try to create an outline for this. Don't make this difficult. This is not college. I need you right now. What did it say in the chat? Somebody said something, had a question. To look at this prompt on the screen. I want you to write for us, but more importantly for yourself. Your own narrative, your own story, whether it's an emotional reflex that you've developed because of a story that you might want to bring back to the front of your memory. How did you analyze it? I'm 8 years old. I'm trying to figure out why they can't take me. It takes me 10 years to figure it out. What did I learn from that about my own power? That I can wait, that I want to make sure I understand the rules of the game, that I'm still going to be as talented outside of that environment as I would have been had I been allowed in. I couldn't negotiate with anybody. I just had to negotiate myself. And the leadership variable, when I'm working with the city to get this cultural center designed and built and funded, I had to recalibrate my own emotions. I had to stop saying what is the right thing to do from an emotional standpoint. And I had to say, okay, let's get the community, let's get the RFP to the right people. Let's make sure that I'm thinking about this in the right way, not changing the rules, but walking alongside them. All that's my story. I want to hear from you. I think we have 10. Can you guys do this in 10 minutes? I don't know what time it is anymore. But take 10 minutes. I'm going to stop talking. One story, one thought that takes you into this understanding of where your power comes from. One paragraph. Paragraph can be 2 sentences or 3. Don't belabor this, you guys. Finish it. And I don't know how the time gets started, but Josh or Lena will tell us that. But you must do what I'm asking you to do. Okay.
Awesome. Starting 10 minutes now, and I'm gonna put on some music so people can write with some sound in the back. We have 5 minutes, everyone. We have 5 minutes. One minute, everybody. 1 minute. Alrighty, time's up, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. I think we just have a few minutes, but I would like to ask if you're willing to share out, read quickly, think through, so that we can sort of understand each other and how we're giving voice to the fact that we belong exactly where we are. Anybody?
I'll go.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I left my job and I came back. And so I'll just give you a few seconds of the backstory. I left my job and came back. And now I'm actually involved in a federal case with with myself and my job. And I wanted to say that for me, it has become a real masterclass in leadership, self-awareness. I moved from asking why are they doing this to me to how the system operate and shift changes. I called my son because he played sports his entire life. And so I said, listen, I need you to tell me about emotional intelligence, and I want you to use your background in basketball. And so every day he gives me, he's in Dallas. So every day he's giving me little clips to do homework, to ask. Well, yes, to do homework for myself about what's going on, but also helping me to block out the noise. What else did I say? And I just said, although I have legal, I do have legal representation, I am also doing my part by understanding and engaging in the process so I can have, clarity and my own strategy to trust myself and not lean on everybody else's knowledge and understanding.
Block out the noise because it's a distraction, right?
Mhm.
Thank you. Stay strong.
Thank you.
Come on, y'all. Don't waste my time. Let's go.
I can go next.
Okay.
The formative narrative that shaped my leadership identity comes from the voices, both external and internal, that told me I would not amount to anything, especially after dropping out of high school. In response, I developed an emotional reflex rooted in determination and grit, a drive to prove everyone wrong, to demonstrate that I was worthy of support, care, and opportunity. The analytical skill that I've had to cultivate alongside that flex is the practice of self-reflection and release, learning when to hold on and when to let go. What this narrative taught me about power is that it is not distributed equally. I was not given the support I needed to continue my education, in large part because of the persistent punishment and invalidation I experienced as a young brown kid and teen. The leadership variable I'm currently recalibrating is how I support and make space for other change makers to grow into their own cultural power and narratives. And that is the commitment at the heart of why I am building Casa Seba and Seba Futures.
Beautiful, Mariana. Don't you love those people that say you're not going to amount to anything? They just don't know how they're fueling our fire, do they? Thank you. Strong words. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too, Margie.
Let's go, somebody.
Right, I'll go. Okay, I'm Edra. My leadership was, and my identity was kind of forward, in rooms where I learned how to move through different worlds, and whether it was culturally, socially, or professional, but always recognizing that nobody recognized me as being fully belonging to one. And yet I could use that in forming my own narrative of leadership in there because no one expected me and no one saw me there. So, in doing so, I was able to learn to influence through kind of disarming them and being warm while they never recognized that what who they were really dealing with, was showing the kitten part and guarding the beast. So that helped in my
Well, bait
leadership.
and switch.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a strategy. Thank you for sharing it. Where in South Carolina are you?
Hilton Head.
Say again.
Hilton Head.
Hilton Head.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, let's take one more. Do I have time for one more, Lena?
You
Yeah,
have, yes, you do.
that was me. So I was formed as a leader because as a young person, when I was houseless, I enlisted in the army, despite having no business doing that, to create resources for myself. And what that taught me was that it gave me a dangerous internal narrative that in some sense I was incapable of failure and I could endure almost anything and still perform. And while that narrative helped me to survive, it also produced an emotional reflex of over functioning and people pleasing, especially when I entered leadership in a struggling organization I inherited as a young leader in a system where many people were predisposed to not trusting someone 20 years their junior. And to balance that reflex, I've had to build the analytical discipline to distinguish between conflict and signal and others' discomfort and actual error, and to assess institutions as systems rather than verdicts of my worth, especially when the organization I inherited did not work and may have not ever worked in a coherent way. And what this has taught me about power is that it's not just something that's exercised, but something that's interpreted, performed, and withheld through culture, negotiated through credibility and stamina. And the leadership variable I'm currently recalibrating is the shift from proving I can survive to building from my own intuition, strategy, and integrity with boundaries and a steadier confidence that I know what I know.
Honey, you just nailed that. I love it.
Yes, Garrett.
Garrett, did you write that down?
I did. I'm going to say that.
You save it, honey. And you rip it off that notepad. You stick it on your mirror. You look at it often. When I come visit you, I want to see it. Those are
Thank you.
strong words. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, guys. I do hope that this was some interesting time for you to spend. I want to stay on schedule, but I want you to just remember that the power you hold, only you hold it, and only you can release it. No one can take it away from you. They can try to cloak it and cover it up and maybe cause you to pause. But what you own and the person that you are is uniquely designed by you and for you. So I hope to see you again. Thanks for spending this time with me. I'm happy to call you all my colleagues. And I do respond to emails at strange times of the day and night. But if we can ever have a quick talk about something or think through something that you want to share out, please do. And I want to thank Anika and Josh and Marcelina for allowing us to have this time together.
Thank you, Miss Margie.
Miss Margie.
There's a lot of, I know it looks like it's a video game, all those hearts and everything
Oh,
coming on the screen. That's what that was earlier.
okay.
And thanks everybody for just seeing. This is what we do when we have Miss Margie, we quote her. She is the endless quotable human being. So we've got all your quotes going in the chat and lots of love and emojis. Thank you so much for the sharing. I'm going to hand to Marcelina to let us know what's next.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, Miss Margie.
Bye, sweetie.
Alrighty, so we are going to go ahead and shift into our coaching pods now. Everyone has been their coach. If for some reason I put you in the wrong coach, hop back in and I'll switch you. But take a breath, grab water if you need it, and carry one word from the last hour with you. We're going to put this coaching script in for our coaches in the chat so that you'll have it. for the core prompt, who's, all those things that go along with that. And you're going to take your 10-minute break within the coaching pods. I believe that is correct.
Yep, that's correct. You're good.
Yeah. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and open up those rooms and we'll see everybody. Oh, there's Marilyn. We'll see everybody in the hour. Okay, Josh, everyone's back.
Amazing. Hey, everyone. So we hope that Civic Imagination Lab was very insightful and that you made some headway on those project plans and was taking some words and inspiration from Miss Margie. And I know you had some great coaches leading you through this process. So yeah. And now we're going to take a couple minutes and do a transition into our cross-regional engagement. This is going to be randomized groups. We're going to practice just some narrative sharing and reflective listening. And so please, go into these randomized groups with your confidence and have your ears open and be ready to share through your peer feedback. And yeah, so I don't know, Lena, if there's any other instructions that we
Nope.
them opening. All right.
I'm going to be opening the rooms and just let me know if you get kicked out or anything, just because these are randomized. So I won't know 100% where your room is at. But just remember who your coach is in that one, because that's how it's going to be set up. And I'm going to go ahead and open these rooms. They're going to be 30 minutes. So I'll see everybody in 30 minutes.